So why do they have 1,000 reviews and you have 100? Because they're trying and they're putting in a process for it. And they're putting people in front of people that are incentivized to get it done.
Sharp strategies, sweet success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Tiffany Swedensky, and you're listening to Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success. Today, I'm here with Kevin Daisey of Array Digital. I talked to Kevin a few times. I was on his podcast also, and we're both just in this legal marketing space and cross each other's paths kind of often on LinkedIn and all those good places. Have we met at an event before? Have we done face to face, or has it just been Zoom so far?
You know what? I don't know if we have. I don't think
I don't think
so,
so. Yeah.
but we'll change that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
At some point. My goal for 2026 is to attend more events. And so it's like seeing old friends because once you've been in legal marketing for a few years, you just kind of start to learn people's names and see the same people. But anyway, so
You'll get tired of me, trust me.
I feel like I get tired of myself and I feel like other people get tired. And you end up saying the same things in meetings sometimes. And then you're like, how many times have I said this to this person? Or have I just said it like many times to different people? It's like, it's tough sometimes. Anyway, Kevin, if you wouldn't mind, just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your company and what y'all do.
Yeah, well, Tiffany, thanks so much for having me, of course. And yeah, we see each other. I mean, I see your name on every post I see and follow a lot of lawyers and friends and clients. So it's good to see people that you recognize there. So yeah, my name's Kevin Daisey, one of the founders of Array Digital. We are a digital marketing agency. So we've been around for quite a long time. I started my first agency in 2006. So I worked with some lawyers back then. I still have a lawyer that was a client since then. So we niched into legal 2017-ish, something like that. So we haven't always been niched in legal, but it's been quite a while. We help law firms with everything from their website, content, copy, SEO, digital PR for backlink purposes, brand building purposes, anything that's going to help the firm build a good brand and be searchable and findable on either Google or AI search. And so there's obviously other little things in there that local SEO and management of their listings and stuff like that. But primarily, we're looking to help our law firms grow and bring in quality leads in whatever niche that they are in. So, yeah.
And so much has changed with digital marketing recently. Like there are just so many changes. And you mentioned digital PR. Can you talk about the popularity maybe of some of the programs you offered? Like how's that shifted in the last couple months, couple years?
Yeah, I think you obviously have backlinks, backlink building for with SEO. And you'll see agencies offer backlinks per month or how many per month or different qualities of links and stuff like that with their different packages. And so Google, even until recently, is come out and said, yeah, well, we still look at links. It still matters. And so that's still going to be worked into most SEO strategies is building backlinks and those things like that. The rise of digital PR, you'll see a lot of my competitors and myself even starting to talk about it in the last year and really push it. At the end of the day, the goal is to get backlinks. So it's not really changing that. It's just kind of the method of how we're doing it. You can purchase, you can do guest blogging, and with digital PR, it's just more of a buzzword. But at the end of the day, it's the way of either taking a piece of content or getting mentioned in a piece of content and getting the client linked and referenced in that piece of content. It can be more of a brand builder and brand play because it has more context. It could be an article that we've written for the client to get posted in a particular publication. And it's not too far off from regular PR. So we actually offer PR now. We have a PR team, which gets backlinks, even if that's not what they're looking for. So it's kind of a crossover too, of well, if we do traditional PR to get the media or podcast interviews or other coverage, that can produce backlinks for the SEO efforts. And so we're kind of really messing with that now as far as like our teams internally. Like, well, is there a separate PR team and then a digital backlink building team, or is that really one and the same? So we're definitely structuring things different here. And we hate, I hate buying backlinks or going that route at all, to be honest with you. We've kind of tried to stop doing that and focus only on PR and ways of getting the links naturally. So,
Yeah, all the recent changes in digital marketing for me are really exciting. I mean, they're scary when you're an agency and you have done like SEO a certain way for a long time and you have to pivot. You have to pivot. And then, like what you said, like buying backlinks is kind of boring in a way. And so, digital PR, it's like a new wrapper for something that we've been doing all along. And digital PR in general, it's those backlinks, it's those external website mentions or brand mentions. But it's also content that the marketing team can leverage. And so it goes beyond even like SEO. There's more to it than just like that authority play, which is why I'm kind of excited about it because a backlink's a backlink. It's just, it
yeah,
is what it is. Yeah.
it just seems cheap. It seems like we have to buy these things or try to force these things. But it doesn't seem like, I mean, I've never liked it ever. If it works, it works, but I never have liked it. So, yeah. And I think we're leaning way more into brand and the brand of a firm. And if they don't have a good brand, meaning they're not known, their messaging is not clear, who their target client is, and they don't lean heavy into that, then it's so much harder to have anything else work. SEO is harder with a weak brand. PPC is not as effective if they're not recognized in the community. And so with PR, digital or not, whatever, I'm also trying to get away from that. Like let's just call it PR. But is that where there's so many other benefits. The backlinks is kind of like a byproduct, maybe in some cases, but you're getting mentioned, you're getting brought up in local media. There might be interviews, TV, radio. So again, more traditional stuff. That also, all those companies also have digital outlets. So if you're on a TV show segment, it'll be on their web version. So there's a lot of other, again, brand building elements that probably, way more weight to it than probably some of the backlinks and the SEO parts of it. And then as Google is losing market share, right? AI doesn't care about backlinks. They care about the mentions, the credibility. How often have you been talked about in context of what you do? And so we're leaning way heavier into the brand and the PR and working with the marketing teams internally or CMOs to be like, we just can't take a crap firm facade and make it just perform because you can find them on search. Like we need everything to be consistent and working together.
Yeah, you need content to be authoritative and authentic online, and you can't really outsource that. I mean, you can parts of it, but like that authentic stories from the law firm, those real experiences. Right before we were recording this podcast, I was doing a call with my marketing directors in my mastermind group, and we were talking about reviews.
Hmm.
And like that's PR kind of in a small scale, in a way, if you think about it in a way. But reviews are more than just reviews. They're more than just a number in Google and 5 stars. They're content. They're feeding ChatGPT. And I really like that when we have marketing assets that are multi-purpose, like digital PR. That's more than just PR. It's about brand building. It's about storytelling. And I really loved what you said though about how like everything supports everything. Everything you do supports your PPC, your social media, your online presence. And I feel like that's what a lot of law firms are missing. They do this like one shot thing. They put all of their money into like PPC or SEO and neglect these other things like reviews. And when you're doing that, when you're just one shotting it, it's much less effective. And I think that's an important lesson.
Yeah, it's like, hey, what's the quickest way to get a phone call? And I don't want to do all these other exercises or effort into. It goes even deeper, right? It's like, it goes back to like for me because I'm more passionate about just a business and operating a business and all the ins and outs of it. So it goes deep as like, how's the business formed? What's the vision and the core values? Why would someone want to work at the law firm? But yeah, we're worried about how we're going to just get a phone call in the door. But all those other things matter too, to how's the person on the other end of the phone responding? Do they want to actually work at that law firm, or are they just coming across as they could give two shits, right? So all this stuff works together. It's like, how is the law firm being managed, marketed, and the brand has got to represent what the owners or leadership have put forth that they want to do in the market. So there's a lot of things there, I guess, to unpack. And it takes a team, right, to get this stuff together. And some lawyers, they have pieces that are figured out, and they have the good reputation. They might have good reviews, but they've never marketed, or they've never done digital. We can work with that, right? Or I got firms that are like, hey, we just disbanded and we're starting a brand new firm from scratch. We have zero, nothing. Cool, great opportunity to do things right and to put some of these things in place. But it's not overnight success either. So, it's just a lot of things to work on. So you can just see brand, it's easy to say, but there's a lot that actually goes into pulling it off.
So Lyle at Nanato Media whenever he talks to law firms about like doing a Spanish marketing program, he tells them that it's a long-term play. We're building a brand that people in the community trust and recognize. There are no shortcuts. And he's very upfront with that. And I super respect him for that and I blame us marketers, like we're all guilty of when we're trying to sell our services to business owners. We know business owners want to hear quick wins, fast results. And so we lead with that. But truly, marketing is like this long-term play where we just have to build upon just a lot of things that we've done. And it can be difficult. And like you said, I would rather work with a law firm that comes to me and says, I don't want to do any digital. I just want to do everything else. Maybe social media. I would try to talk them in social media, but I don't want to do PPC. I don't want to do SEO. I don't want to do LSAs. I'll do anything else. I'll work with that firm. That's easy. But the flip side of it, the law firm that says, I only want to do PPC, LSAs, lead generation, I'm going to hesitate because there's nothing to support that lead generation. I haven't even, not even bringing into the equation what their intake teams are doing, which I have a
We won't
sneaking.
we won't sell those things by themselves.
Yeah.
We won't do it. And every time we have a firm that's like, oh, I got a ton of money, if it's brought to like my team or my management team or my partners of that, we always retell stories of when we did it and how it didn't work out. And so we don't do it. So take my money. Nope, won't do it. It's not going to happen.
Well, and it's tempting because we want things to be like a light switch like that. We want to, and just for the same reason that people hire attorneys to outsource a problem, attorneys hire marketers to solve a marketing problem. But marketing is like a part of growing a business, like you said. And it's a lot of best practices from my perspective, like just doing the best that we can with the marketing resources we have.
Yeah, I mean, you're investing money into it and resources and time and energy, not because it's like this thing outside the business. It is a major part of the business, and it should never not be. It should always be marketing, right? 100%. There's not something you turn on, turn off. So a lot of businesses most lawyers get it. Personal injury lawyers, they get it. But every time you might switch or do some major change, it can be a big negative. It can take a lot of time to recover. It depends on what you're doing, but it's definitely a long game. So whether or not you have the same partners or vendors in that long game, the firm needs to know where it wants to go and not just go, hey, agency, what should we do and how should we do it? And you're responsible to do it. The firm has to be on board. They have to understand marketing. Have someone on the inside is always the best because the partners of the firm are not going to be the ones that are the marketing experts. But what's the firm trying to do? What's the goals? Does the vendor or the marketing partner or whoever at this time fit that? And are they delivering? And then if they're not, the law firm's not lost without that agency. They need to be like, well, this is our company. We know what we're doing, where we're going. Now we need to bring in partners to get the work done. And a lot of law firms just kind of like want to be like, the marketing is not my thing. Just get it done and make sure it works. And if the leadership's involved, the owners are involved and are passionate about it, they understand the numbers, it's always a better outcome, in my opinion.
I was talking about reviews earlier and just had this whole thing about reviews. And I think that's a perfect example because if you're a business owner and you're pushing your SEO company and saying, like, how do we do better in Google business? Like, the honest to goodness, but sometimes like disappointing answer is get more reviews. And I talk to business owners who know they need more reviews, but maybe there's a mindset problem with the owner themselves. They don't want to ask, they don't want to be annoying. They wait until the end of the case to request their review instead of at other points in their journey, their customer journey, client journey. And if it's not the owner with the mental block, it's the team. And it's easy to, like, you look at reviews and say, we know this is a problem, we know we need more, let's just automate it. But let's keep in mind, like an email, a law firm email usually has an open rate of about 30%. Some companies are better, some are worse. And so if you're relying on automation, reviews, text messages, or emails, you're basically resigning the fact that only 30% of people are going to like open it and see your request. And so it's getting more reviews comes from the people who are at the business. And that is a huge thing the business can do internally that supports everything your SEO company is doing to actually improve your business listing. And yeah, for me, like, reviews is a perfect example of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like we rely on the business to have our results be better, right? And then they rely on us to do our part. So it's definitely we have to be working together, talking together, making recommendations, being proactive. Hey, this is a new thing that's out. Have you guys, we don't even do this, but this would help all our efforts. Who in the firm can take that on or add this thing? So I think it needs to be fluid like that. And the agency should be bringing up those conversations instead of just being like, if they're not mad, just let's just keep doing our thing in the corner over here. Like that's not a good way to go. One of the things I'll do a quick story. Like all these law firm owners are always like, Kevin, look, they have 1,000 reviews. That's bull crap. They suck. We're better than them. We only have 100 reviews, but they have 1,000. They're making them up or they're fake. But you go talk to that other firm and they say, oh yeah, we have a process. We ask for the review in the first call sometimes, like all the way down to like they have a whole process of taking a lead to a case to a referral source with a 5-star review. And systems and processes, right? So they've figured it out. And then you have real people that, hey, Tiffany, yeah, you're really happy with how everything's gone so far. Great. Yeah. Why I have you, would you leave us a 5-star review? It would really mean a lot to me. And I get reviewed based on that here. Like you're going to be like, oh, sure. A text message, you can ignore it. An email, oh, yeah, it went in my spam. So what?
Yeah.
There's no accountability there whatsoever. So why do they have 1,000 reviews and you have 100? Because they're trying and they're putting in a process for it. And they're putting people in front of people that are incentivized to get it done. Right.
I really love that you shared that story. That actually happened to me very recently, where I have one client that's just like their firm are rock stars at getting reviews and they have over 1,000. And
Yeah.
I was talking to my other client who wants more reviews about what they do to get them. And this other client, he didn't say that my other client had fake reviews, but he looked at Morgan and Morgan and he was like, those aren't real. Those are fake reviews. But like, I don't think they realize how sophisticated Google is. Like, Google takes down actual fake reviews really fast.
Yeah.
And like you said, these firms with a ton of reviews, it seems impossible, but they have systems and those systems are enforced and it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a bit of a cognitive dissonance, I think is the word that we have when we see somebody doing so well. We try to invalidate it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, jump right to it's not valid. And lawyers tell me this all the time. Mostly ones that don't become clients that want to talk to us, that bitch, complain. I used to be the best. I'm the best. They shouldn't be getting the cases. I should be getting the cases. I'm better at this kind of work than they are. And it's all complaints, while the other firms are head down, learning how to run a better business. And that's the review process they have is just one example. But I bet they're crushing it in many other areas. And they're concerned about the areas that they haven't crushed it in yet, which they will once they figure it out. Just the difference with, again, back to the business side of things and the culture, like you said. If the culture is, how do we improve? How do we get more systems in place? How do we improve those systems over and over and over again? And everyone here is going to benefit from it as we grow, right? You're not going to outperform that firm if you are not doing the same thing and you're just paying attention to all the cheating they're doing or they're making all this up. Like, no, they're just consistently doing good work and working and asking for the reviews.
Yeah. And it's so funny how just like a little bit of elbow grease, like asking for a review, it works so well. It does almost seem like magic. And I mean, just think about that for a second. That person to person communication being so effective. But I mean, and then there's a problem with looking at your competitors from the outside, looking at what they're doing from the outside, because you don't actually know what's happening behind the scenes. You don't know what their systems are. You don't know what they care about, what they're tracking. And it can be easy to kind of make some assumptions that are wrong, I think. And so we fall in that trap a lot. And for me, it mostly comes up when we look at a marketing campaign and we don't realize it didn't work. We like the idea of it. Like we like the idea of something like that working, but like behind the scenes, it's not a successful strategy. It just is appealing or for some reason to business owners, which is interesting. So
Yes.
I'm having this conversation with a few vendors right now for some of my clients, and we're talking about like PPC budgets.
Mm.
And I
My
don't know
favorite
how
topic.
much, so, huh?
My favorite topic.
Fun topic. So I don't know how if you're seeing similar trends on your end or if your experience is different, or even if you look that close at your clients' accounts. I don't know if you are or somebody else's. But so the trends that I'm seeing being shared with me is click rates for personal injury are just like through the roof. And I'm seeing some PPC companies like recommend budgets not like 20,000 a month, but like 50,000 a month or even like 75, 100,000 a month. And I'm being told that's what some of these big law firms are spending on Google PPC. I mean, is that right? Is that accurate? Like, what are you guys seeing on your end?
It's, well, it depends on the firm, what their market is, obviously, a couple things like that. But I mean, we're seeing success with much smaller budgets, in my opinion. Most firms that come to me go, I was told it was going to be X to even get, a case, or if I don't spend this much, it's not going to happen. And some of those, when I look into it and we do some research, we're like, that's kind of way off. And in some cases, hey, I'm in South Florida. I want car accidents in Miami. What should I spend? Right. And in some cases, yeah, that's going to could be significant if you want to actually play. And this is a numbers game. If I've heard people say, hey, it's in South Florida, it's $6,000 per signed motor vehicle accident cost.
Wow.
And owners of firms are like, you've lost your mind. I would never pay that. That's crazy. But that's what they're being told by some of their agencies that I hear. I don't know if it's just to kind of like scare them off or put them up market and reset their expectations. But again, some of the clients that we have, they're spending upwards of 25, $30,000 a month. We don't really have the clients that spend 100 grand a month plus. And we have clients that spend a couple grand a month and we're having amazing success for them. So I think it's really down to the strategy, the brand. Do they have good reviews? Are they known in the neighborhoods and the community? Plays a big part because almost everyone I talk to, they go, I'll skip an ad. I don't click on them. Not me. I skip them. Everyone says that. But if they recognized, your business, that's when they click. So if you're just doing PPC to start a brand new firm that doesn't exist with no track record, you could spend a lot of money just trying to force it. But if you have a good, strong brand, you can spend less. So I think that's just something to think about. If you want to spend a lot on clicks and that's it, you're gonna have to spend more because no one trusts you. You can get a lot of
I
clicks and not a lot of conversions. So
Yeah, and I guess I haven't thought of it that way, but you're right. Building a brand ultimately probably makes your PPC cheaper, not more expensive. Because the logic there, as you grow, and if you want to get more from PPC, logic serves like you push more money into it. But that's people don't, like you said, people aren't usually willy-nilly clicking on ads. They're clicking on ads for a reason, marketing copy, headlines, or brand recognition.
yeah,
Um,
I've seen them on social. This is all instantaneous. They don't really stop to think about it. Heard them on TV, heard them on the radio, saw them on social. So I have some familiarity with this one versus the rest I don't. Click. You don't even know if it's good or bad. Like you just know that you recognize them. So there's that. And then also too, this is ones that we've done recently. Hey, I want to do personal injury car accidents in Miami or Dallas. We have two offices. And then you go, okay, can you do the whole state? Yeah, we can do the whole state of Florida. Okay, cool. A small budget will work better in the whole state versus just Miami. It's just not enough. It's just too focused. And so if you're in like a small area and you're like, yeah, you gotta spend 10 grand a month, expand out. And Google's going to give you a lot more opportunity as long as you can go travel across the state or everything's virtual now. But I do have clients that say we won't take clients outside this area, and that's it. That's just kind of where they are. But if you expand out, you can take a smaller budget and you should have better results versus trying to like hammer a smaller metro area. So
yeah.
that's what I've seen.
Well, and it's not just the psychology of potential clients when you think about it like that. It's the psychology of how other businesses like to spend. And law firm owners are all share similarities, similar characteristics. They make decisions in similar ways. And so you do talk to a lot of law firms who are like, I don't want to advertise, I don't want to drive, I don't care about cases in rural areas. And
Mm.
so most people just don't go after them. And the economics of that within Google Ads means that those rural leads are cheaper. And so, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it because we're going after these cheaper leads that are ultimately like underserved. Well, one of my clients is in Arkansas, and I'm trying to remember. I think he told me in Arkansas they have 42 counties. I may be getting the number slightly wrong, but there are only lawyers in six of those. And so the other counties in Arkansas, zero lawyers. And when you think about it, like there's just this huge chunk of the state that's just underserved.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point. So if the firms like can you do the whole state, absolutely cool. Then that opens it up. Naturally, we go, I want Chicago, I want Detroit, I want, well, yeah, but because that's where the population, so that's where their head's at. But
Yeah.
don't let the law firm decide that. I mean, ultimately they can decide that, but you bring them back and say, hey, have you thought about this? Check out the numbers when I do a Google keyword research plan for the state or for this other county or everyone everywhere but the downtown city because that's too competitive. Morgan and Morgan, all the other players are right there. So where can we fit in smaller firm? You don't have the budget to compete on PPC unless we do it this way. And if that's going to work for you, then we might have a good solution for you. So I think just being flexible, bring in the data, let the data tell the story and say, if you only have 5 grand a month or 10 grand a month, here's how we could make that work. And if it works and brings a 3x or more, let's continue to do it.
So, what have you heard about Performance Max recently? I was in a meeting not long ago and somebody was like, we could try Performance Max. And I turned into a mysterious stranger. I was like, Performance Max. I hadn't heard that name in a long time.
Like,
Because law
no,
firms just
please
haven't
don't.
used it. But is there something new there? I've heard it come up a few times.
I use it as a red flag, or if I'm talking to a firm that's like, yeah, we're not happy with what's going on. And then we'll say, hey, can we like take a look or show us your screen or give us view access? And Performance Max shows up. I'm like, oh, okay. And then we usually find a lot of other issues. Not to say it doesn't have some application, but traditionally we've seen it where either the agency is not perform, they don't know what they're doing and they just kind of set it up, or I've seen agencies where they can't get PPC to perform and they kind of fall back to try and Performance Max.
Kind of a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and I've never seen it work well. I've never seen it use the budget properly or in the best way possible. When we can control as much as we can, Google's going to do its thing. We want Google to learn and figure things out, but we want to have our own controls. And we just seen it waste a lot of the budget and not get any of the results. Lots of views, lots of impressions, clicks, conversions are down. There's no conversion. So I'm not the ads person here, obviously, but I know it puts it out on other Google networks and other websites and all that stuff. So it's really just serving up impressions, and we want conversions. We want to chase conversions. So for us, this first 90 days, it's going to be clicks, impressions, trying to get as much data as we can. Once we have enough conversions, we switch to a conversion metric chase. Only chase conversions. That's what we go after. So we don't use Performance Max at all. And again, I have another agency that is in like the home services side, and they have found more application for it. And if it works, again, if it works, it works. I don't, doesn't matter to me.
I imagine it works well in product marketing when you're selling an item that's relatively low cost, but we're selling a professional service that's expensive. And so
Yeah.
for me, like those types of ads just aren't for this industry. I hope it's not too boring, but for Performance Max, the way I try to explain it to people, it doesn't work. And that's just because of the way Google serves these ads. If you ever were trying to download like a free program, like if you go to download like Notepad Plus, which is a free program, you'll see those ads where it's like a big download button, and it's
Yeah. Yeah.
misleading because like you think you're going to download and get the program, but it's an ad, right? And those are Google ads, and those are probably Performance Max ads, and those ads appear on those pages because they get misclicked a bunch. And so Google optimizes and shows those ads on those types of pages because of the misclicks. And so like Google makes a lot of money with those misclicks. And I guess the advertisers maybe don't care because it does usually seem like actual scams.
Yeah.
But that's Performance Max in a nutshell. You'll get, like you said, a lot of impressions, a lot of clicks, but it means nothing because they're sometimes it's optimized for not even a business goal, which is
Yeah.
wild.
And my clients, anyway, they want to constantly dial in the type of lead and the right kind of lead and high qualities. Everyone throws out high quality and the right fit. That's going the complete opposite direction. For one, if I haven't been in an accident, I have no, you can't just sell me on hiring a law firm. It's, I have the need or not. So we want to be very specific and weed out anyone that's even close to not even being a fit. Like we want to negative out keywords all the time. Like we don't want these types of traffic. We want folks that have actually been injured, that have done the research, that went on the landing page, clearly know what is for and converted from there. So yeah, there's no tricks. It's got to be very specific. So I think that's where the budget can just be ruined. And PPC can be very effective, but it's just you have to, it's got to be very tightened down, and the brand matters too.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on towards the end of our podcast today, so I got to ask my last two traditional questions. So, was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to today?
Man, we covered some good stuff. I'm happy with what we covered, actually. I don't think so. Obviously, everyone's talking about AI and ChatGPT and how they show up and all those good things. I would say that's something you should be tracking and watching. There's some plant softwares out there that can track how you show up, and you should be doing that. How can you impact it? And it's not the same as Google, right? It's not exactly the same. It's very close. So if you have a good SEO strategy in place, you've been putting out good content, you're getting exposure, mentions, social, PR, all those things. Like if you're doing all those things and you're actively trying to grow your reviews, like Tiffany was saying, then you're going to perform well in those search platforms naturally.
Yeah.
And those platforms are looking for new and fresh and unique. when AI first came out, everyone's using it for content, and AI is like, doesn't want the same old crap circulated. It wants fresh, new perspective. So if you continue to do those things, also to tie in the reviews, since we talked about that so much, and you'd said that the content of the review and how important that is versus, hey, Tiffany, can you give me a 5-star review real quick? You want me to say anything?
Yeah.
No, just click the stars or just say Kevin's great in the review process saying, hey, Tiffany, would you leave me a 5-star review? Yes. No problem. I'll do it right now. Great. Here's an idea of what you could say and have some context to it. Like, yeah, I was involved in a vehicle accident, hired so-and-so law firm. They helped me with my case, blah, 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 blah. The way the review is written, the details of it is important. These programs can pick up on that and actually help that firm show up better because it's relevant to what they do as a service. Think about that too. So
We haven't talked about this too much in the legal industry yet. But I mean, we've leveraged it, but user generated content. We know ChatGPT, we know Google loves user generated content. Those are your Reddit posts, those are your reviews, those are question and answers on Justia, and all these places where like people ask questions and get responses, and ideally get responses from authoritative people, because all of these LLMs are hungry for thought leadership and unique insight. This was like a year or so ago, but like ChatGPT and OpenAI were hiring Python developers to write Python and then explain to ChatGPT why their code worked the way it did. And these LLMs still need those authoritative perspectives. And you may feel a certain way about them scraping your content, but if you're trying to build a brand, that's exactly what we're trying to do. So
100%.
it's yeah.
Yeah, so you can influence all that, right? So again, if you're marketing and you have a plan and strategy, you're actively trying to get yourself out there and put out good content, helpful content, answer questions, good reviews, you're going to do well in those areas. So,
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show and joining me today. Before we go, why don't you let people know where they can look you up, find you, learn more about you and Array Digital?
yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you so much for having me. It was an awesome conversation. A lot of important things that I'm passionate about for law firms. So, yeah, you can look me up LinkedIn, Kevin Daisey, Daisey. I'm also Kevin Daisey on everything else. So, Instagram, Facebook. I got lucky with a unique spelling on my name. So, you can pretty much find me anywhere there, or you can check out the Managing Partners podcast. I've had over almost 500 law firm owners on the show talking about business, talking about what we're talking about today, or you can go to arraydigital.com.
Well, congrats on the podcast. That's 500. That's a lot. How many? Well, just one more question. I'll let
I
you go. How
know.
many podcasts do you record a week?
Sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 a week. It can depend. Like last week I had none, which was nice, but it's usually a couple a week. Sometimes I look at my calendar and go, "Oh crap, I don't really talk to people today." But yeah, it's a lot. But it's ours is our biggest marketing effort, I guess, is as far as how people find us, how people know us, the guests I've gotten to meet, the rooms I've been able to get into, the conferences I go to. The podcast kind of is the main thing. So I wouldn't replace it with anything else. It's been a great experience so far.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. I'm super glad to hear it. I feel like mine's just kind of getting started, even though I've been doing it for like, man, almost a year and a half. And you're right. It's great. It's a great way to make content and like share what you know and have people learn more about you. So highly recommend starting a podcast. Thanks so much again. And thanks for our listeners for joining us today. And we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.